On today's episode of Watch JR Go, it's time to talk about the elephant in the room. No, it's not the wall toolbox. It's this Plymouth Prowler. What is going on, guys? I'm Watch JR Go, and today we are here with what is absolutely not a Plymouth Prowler, but I have seen so many comments about, hey, you bought a Plymouth Prowler, and what do you think about it? And it's not what this is. So I thought today would be the perfect time to show you guys around this 33 Ford. And while it is a 90-year-old car, it's actually brand new. So to start with, this is not mine. This is Josh's from the Fractured Rooster. I'll throw a link to his channel below. I don't think he's really made any videos or released them yet. We've shot some videos with this thing, been working on it for a while, but this was one of his dad's cars. And it's a pretty incredible build. It is a little dusty from sitting for quite a while at this point, but it has a beautiful, beautiful, like burgundy on maroon two-tone paint job. And this thing pops. His dad had a matching Harley that went with this. I'm sure they looked incredible together. So this is a 33 Ford Coupe kit from Factory 5 Racing. It looks absolutely incredible, and while it looks like the Fords you see out on the road, it's brand new. Instead of being some chopped up old frame with, you know, a Ford big block or a small block chevy in it or something like that, it's a brand new car you get to build yourself. This one obviously does have a small block in it, but it just looks so good and it performs, and you don't have to worry about starting on an old platform where you're gonna have to do tons of work to restore. You end up with a really, really, really nice car. So let's start in the front of this thing. You have the awesome scoop grille. All of the bodywork on here is fiberglass. These are those segmented LED headlights with turn signals built into the headlights right there. That lower section is the turn signal. It's sitting on torque thrusts with Factory 5 center caps in it. Really massive brakes, honestly. I mean, these brakes are incredible for the size of the car. Toyo R888s, which is a great tire, and the pattern really adds to how aggressive this thing looks when it's pulling up or parked anywhere. The R888 is just such a good tire. Inboard suspension, you can see it has coilovers that are hiding in the center. They tie back to the frame up there. Then it has a cantilevered control arm. This is one piece right here. It goes from the shock through the pivot and all the way back to the pivot on the frame right there. Underneath we have another control arm that's a Heim joint adjustable piece, really nice looking, and tie rods right there from a really cool polished rack. You see, that's a polished rack. It's a little bit dirty, and that polished rack comes back through a whole bunch of U-joints there into an electronic power steering unit. I don't think a lot of people do that, but very, very cool. It's aftermarket electronic power steering. You can see the control box right there. It's an Electrosteer kit. Comes back up through a billet steering shaft into the firewall. Aluminum radiator there in the front with an electric fan that's supported by a bracket made out of a ruler or a straight edge from you know, a home supply store, Lowe's, Home Depot, whatever your pick is there. It's been run through a brake and had 90s put on it to make a nice bracket out of that. And it's a good looking radiator that really fits the aesthetic here. There are side panels here. They're actually right over there. You can see they go around all the suspension and they can cover up the whole engine and everything in here if you want like a very sleek look. Those sides just unbolt if you want to show off the engine or have a more aggressive look. So you can go classy or you can go hot rod, whichever way you want. We'll come back to the engine in a minute because it's its own thing. The hood slides forward and then opens backwards, which is also a very cool look. This is a removable hardtop on this thing. There is a soft top for it. And if you run the soft top, there's a whole nother windshield that slides into some little pins so you can drop the top and cruise. You can really do whatever you want with this car. It's very, very configurable and very easy to switch between the configs. It's cool because it's a Factory 5, I don't know if you can see the logo, a Factory 5 windshield in there that's custom made for this thing. and the whole top on bolts. The suicide doors are on remote door poppers. One of the coolest things. They don't open very far. Some cardboard in there to protect the carpet, but that is obviously the coolest way to get in the car. You have to back into the thing. Factory 5 logos there, a cabinet pull that closes it, and there's the latch if the door poppers don't work. It does have power windows as well. Controls for those are in the center. We'll do a full interior here in a second. Let's keep walking around. Massive, massive R888s in the back. Let's see, these are 305 35 18s, and the rear end underneath here is a Curie. So that's really cool. It's like a fully built 9-inch, something like that. And there are factory 5 shock absorbers supporting that as well. So it is a beefy setup in the back. I went ahead and opened the trunk. Back here, your car show ready. Got your duster, chairs, all that good stuff, because you know you gotta sit out at the car show. Fuel fill is inside the trunk as well. There you go. It's a quick cap there. It only has to turn a half turn to pull out. It's sealed, really nice. LED tail lights, and the battery hangs out right here. There's a switch for a trunk light right there, and the receiver for the security system and door poppers. It also has a battery tender permanently wired in there. Coming around to the passenger side, again, remote door popper. It's just the coolest thing when you're walking up to the car and the door is already ready. I mean, it's an old school design. It's not like, you know, you expect that on a Model S or Model X. This is just so different. Bucket seats, Simpson harnesses, the laptop's in here because we're doing some tuning. I'll show you guys that in a moment. And there is a plastic surround that covers all of that. The fuel tank's back there. That surround is right over there. So it's just not finished out with its trim pieces at the moment, but it does finish out really well. There's a roll bar, a big hoop, and of course you can pull the top out and be totally ready to go with some safety. This thing does have vintage air conditioning. You can see the bulkhead right there and all of the lines to the AC running up to the front there. So it is very much a street car, and just what a look. What a look. This makes everybody happy when it pulls up to a light or is just parked out at a car show. The exact Ford Coupe that everybody loves to see. So let's get in this thing. So you kind of back in like this, sit down on the edge of the seat, slide back. It's a process. There you go. Get all situated. This is what it looks like sitting in the driver's seat of a Ford Coupe. You've got a little bit of visibility out of that rear view mirror, a little bit of Ford visibility, and other than that, I mean, you're in it to win it in this thing. We've got an all chrome steering wheel here with the factory 5 center cap. It's actually upside down, but it's straight, so we guess that works. Turn signals and wheel tilt, all the stuff you would expect there. Billet pedals, a full complement of odometer gauges, and when these light up, they look absolutely incredible. So there we go. There's the lights and the gauges, water temp, oil, pressure, RPM, speedometer, and there's the odometer, 187 miles on this thing since it was built is what's indicated. Fuel gauge and voltmeter. The vintage air controls, which just like incredibly classy because they used an amber backlight, and then contrasting that, there's some LEDs lighting up all the additional switches for, one of these is like the cooling fan. This one, one of those. I don't know, that one's all the interior lights. There's a switch for the cooling fan. Ah, that one. There we go. There's an additional set of gauges down here since some things are being tested, and an Innovate wideband that Josh installed so we could compare the wideband in the fuel injection to the real wideband that we trust, which is this Innovate. It looks like a manual transmission, but I'm sure you noticed there's only 2 pedals in this car. It's an automatic. I think it's a 700 R4 or a TH400. And it's actually a very nice feeling shifter. The shifter engages well, you know what gear you're in. It's honestly really nice. Center console here with a little flip up armrest, power window controls, and honestly that's about it. It's a pretty simple interior. There's no radio or anything, so you just have to deal with the car. So the hood is a two-handed operation, which is why I went ahead and opened it a little bit, and now we'll push forward until it stops, and then it will flip up, and then there's a support bar in the middle that unclips, and we'll set it on the engine. A lot of you have been patiently waiting to see what this power plant is, so here we go. This is one of those Summit Racing 383s with BPE heads, and of course it's got a nice rotating assembly in it. Everything that you want. Billet underdrive pulleys on the front, I'm sure. The water pumps billet hiding back in there. Nice balancer. It's just a well put together engine with a HEI distributor, blue streak wires, and this, we're gonna get to this in a minute. So we've got an actual Delco alternator in there, the vintage air compressor, and coming around on this side, of course, we have all of the fuel rail stuff with pressure, AN lines, regulator. It's really, really nice. We've got a low car transmission dipstick, low car oil dipstick, and I think that's also the low car coolant reservoir there. Now this is the crown that sits atop the whole car. It's what we're really here to talk about and laugh about. This is the PowerJection 3 fuel injection system with spark control. So that is kind of cool that it can control timing. Back to that HEI distributor there. This is an antique carburetor style bolt-on fuel injection system. So it's by, I think, Professional Products. Weirdly, it shows they still sell it, but there's no support. Like if you call the tech support number, nobody answers, and we haven't had any luck getting any help with this. It seems like it's a completely gone product. The first references I found to this thing are from 2010. Seems like yesterday, but if you think about it, that's 11 years ago now. This thing, as far as we can tell, is completely dead, and the software is where you're really gonna get a good laugh, especially from my IT guys. Before we do that, just a quick look over it. It looks like a nice dual barrel carburetor, 4 butterfly valve, and you know, it seems like it runs fine. It's a good looking unit. The fuel rail between the barrels is real nice, the regulator and the gauge and all that. This was about $1,800. Just the unit here is $1,500, and they charge an extra like $250 for this setup right here with the gauge and the pump. A good bit of money in that, almost as much as this engine. You figure a 383, Blueprint 383 is what, like $5,000-ish dollars? There's $2,000 right there just for the fuel injection. So this is not something that's really cheap to build. Factory 5, I don't know the actual number, but I know most of their kits are in the 20 range. This might even cost a little bit more because it's styled so aggressively and costs more to make with all the swoopy curves. So there's no doubt that there's $35, $40, maybe even $50,000 in a build like this. Sure, it's something you get to build yourself, take some pride in it, but it costs a lot of money to do this. So now I'm gonna drag the extension cord over here. We're gonna turn on the fuel injection, plug in the laptop, and hook up the USB cable. It's actually a serial cable, which is funny too. You have to have the old USB to serial adapter to hook up to this thing. And we're gonna take a look at that software so that everybody can enjoy what 11 years ago looked like. Remember how great Windows XP was? Such a jump from 95, 98 to finally a redesigned OS that was super fast and would install on anything. Oh, the days. This is an old Core 2 Duo Dell Vostro 1500 that just so happens to have the software for PowerJection on it. Go ahead and turn the key on so we've got power to the fuel injection. This is the interface for this fuel injection, and if you've worked on anything modern with HP tuners, Holly's tuning software, Phytech fuels, I don't care what it is, Motec software, which is obviously amazing, this is just laughable. So it's like a Visual Basic GUI, an honest Visual Basic GUI.
I'll create a GUI interface using Visual Basic, see if I can track an IP address.
You've got all the exact same kind of checkboxes and drag and drop icons that they allowed you to use out of that thing. And I think we're connected. Let's see, connect. And it looks like it has found it, possibly. Reading calibration file from ECU. I think it had already done it. So this is live data from the ECU. Let's start the engine up. Oh, it didn't like that. Might help if the fuel pump was on. There we go, now it's alive. All right, so we have the Innovate wideband here, so we can compare it to the wideband on the software. The Innovate is warming up. Take a look at our fuel table. Obviously the green is where the engine's running right now. You can see our air fuels are dead on. Anyway, now you guys have seen most of the interface. I'll show you a few more things. One of the weirdest things about this is the fuel wizard. One of those is actually looking for a torque reference, and that torque reference corresponds to how much fuel it's putting in. Really interesting. So you put in what the engine is expected to make, 300 foot-pounds of torque, and how many injectors are in the power ejection. These are all, it lets you put these in even though they're all built into the system, and your manifold and how big the cam is, and then your torque versus fuel or something like that. And it generates the injector pulse width when you're done. Super interesting. And what a weird way to tune. These things are speed density, and it's just interesting and old. There's a few other options like calibrating TPS. They just have buttons that say calibrate, and a couple other charts in there. The other main chart is how much fuel on crank. There you go. You can adjust pulse width versus engine temp, and of course a couple other enrichment settings there. Well, there's no cats on this thing, and there's no place to put cats. Josh and I did look into that. Also, he installed that Innovate wideband so we could compare the widebands because we didn't think the fuel injection was right. And we were both mind blown when we found out the fuel injection's wideband is dead on the money. For some reason though, it's one of the richest smelling cars you've ever been in your life. Like, you're suffocating when this thing's running, but it's perfect. Like, AFRs are dead on the money. We've almost got it to 14 at idle. So how much more lean do you want it to be? We cannot get this thing to stop burning your eyes, so we don't run it in the shop. What we're gonna do now is get this thing out on the road and show you guys a full pull in a monster like this. And I might start it one more time just because it sounds incredible. Here we go, we're gonna give you guys a little startup. There you have it, a full pull out in the 33 Ford. I better close the door. Josh and I out ripping it. This thing just spins and spins and spins, as you would expect, because it doesn't really weigh anything. So while it looks like these meats might give you some traction, it is just sliding down the road as fast as it can going forward. Really wild to drive. And like I said, one of the most attention-getting cars on the road, like supercar level attention. And it's crazy. You can build it yourself. Anyway, that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop.watchjargo.com for cool shirts, not like this. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. And I will talk to you next time. I could just shoot this forever. It's such a good looking car. Hope you guys agree. Let me know in the comments. That should put to bed any speculation about the Plymouth Prowler in the background of my videos. This is a very, very different car.